Hi, my name is Rachel Fetty, and I am a candidate from First Ward. My husband and I live with our 3 children near the high school, and we have 3 kids from 11 to 18, and we are committed to Morgantown's growth and success. And we are involved at every level, both in church, and I'm on the LSIC for Mountain View Elementary School, and I serve on some other boards throughout town. And we are just committed to Morgantown. We've lived here for 10 years, and it's a part of our life, and it's where we've raised our children. As far as my background, I grew up in a working class family. I'm the oldest of 6 children, and I grew up in rural Nebraska, milking goats. So if anyone needs anyone to do that, I'm available. One of the questions people ask me all the time is whether I'm married to or related to a Fetty that they know. I had to do some digging around when I got here, and I found out that I do indeed have a great forebearer who lived out near Core in the late 1700s. But I suspect he was forced west by various economic circumstances. But I am not married to any Fettys, just to let those folks off the hook. So I'm happy to talk today about the issues that you've raised, and I really appreciate the questions in the forum because this is an important place to discuss these economic issues that I know are a big concern. So have at it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fetty. The first question.
Just for aesthetics, look at me, and
Okay.
we'll keep you in that right there. Sorry.
Yeah, you're better off doing that.
Okay. All right.
The first question I have for you, Ms. Fetty, is about the transportation bill, also known as House Bill 4009. As you know, it was passed by the West Virginia legislature just on March 12, 2016, about a year ago. And it's a priority for the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce to obtain voter.
You can just grab that thing and slide it around.
Let's go back to that question. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that to her.
That's okay. We would roll with it. But you.
Let's go, can we just start that question
Yeah.
over again?
Yeah. I can even just edit it out, so we can just keep going.
Okay, great. So, and as you know, it's a priority for the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce to obtain voter approval of the 1% sales tax increase to improve the roads and related infrastructure here in Montague County. What will you do to publicly promote and advocate for voter approval of the proposed sales tax increase for this purpose?
I'm very interested in discussing the possibility of a 1% sales tax for the purpose of addressing the problems in our city and on our state roads. I know that the safety fee that Morgantown recently passed has significantly helped Morgantown address our very challenging road situations. And it's my understanding there's going to be 80 roads done in the first 2 years, which is remarkable. So I think that success has been inspiring to the rest of the community, and we're absolutely, of course, interested in improving infrastructure. Having said that, Morgantown is the most heavily taxed area in Mon County, and any additional taxes will have to be looked at carefully. I'm not at all opposed to working with the county commissioners or the MPO or any other entity, and in particular the Chamber of Commerce, when we're discussing how to best implement that and how the funds will be used and how to address these issues. I would have to see how the 1% fee or tax would be used, but if we can show that that will definitely assist the citizens of Morgantown, I'm very happy to get on board. As a city council member, our ability to encourage folks to take on additional taxes is of course limited to our function, but I'm absolutely committed to spending the time and the effort advocating for a 1% sales tax if it's going to improve our situation. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question for you is about the concept of Alliance housing the Morgantown Area Chamber of Commerce, Main Street Morgantown, Sunnyside Up, the Montague County Development Authority, the Morgantown Area Economic Partnership, and the Greater Morgantown Convention and Visitors Bureau, all under one roof in a central location in Morgantown. It is a priority for the Chamber. What will you do to publicly promote and advocate for this to become a reality?
I'm happy to meet with anyone regarding the pros and cons of this consolidation effort. But I think many details have to be addressed, including the possibility that some of these different groups have areas of redundancy. And of course, that would be one of the benefits if we're able to eliminate redundant functions. That would be a benefit of having those folks meeting the needs of the community under one roof. I do think that I'm a little bit confused because it's my understanding that most of these organizations are nonprofit and that they have individual boards that have their own specific interests, and they would all have to get on board to be willing to do this. But for those efficiency reasons, I think it's a very positive move, and it's something that we could consider. In particular, if we do indeed move it into the boundaries of Morgantown. One of the things I'm very concerned about is the creep of important city services and important city activities outside the city into the county. But I would be much more enthusiastic about this and willing to support it wholeheartedly if we're going to keep it in Morgantown.
Thank you. What will you do to publicly and privately promote and advocate for the consolidation of local governments, specifically Morgantown, Granville, Westover, and Star City, into a single metro governmental entity?
Wow. Well, I have to say, when I saw this question, I was somewhat surprised. It's my understanding that it's been several years since that project or that possibility has been formally proposed. And there's not a time frame for that kind of consolidation to take place, but it is an interesting possibility. Of course, a proposal to unite all of these different municipalities has many details that we would have to work out very carefully. We do not have consistent laws, we do not have consistent taxes, we do not have consistent funding, and those, of course, are some of the reasons why it would be beneficial, in particular for businesses, if there was a more consolidated, unified approach among these different entities. If this proposal is formally made, I do have to be clear that my primary obligation would be to the citizens of Morgantown. But if it is made, and the data indicates that the consolidation would benefit the citizens of Morgantown, and we're able to clearly demonstrate that, then I would be very happy to participate in every way that I can to encourage that kind of process. But I think it does seem as if it would be a bit of an uphill struggle. Many of these municipalities, they have specific and unique interests, and they have obligations to their own constituents. I'm committed to working with all of the groups that would be involved, of course, the county and the MPO and any other groups in the chamber, in looking at this, and I would love to be involved in any planning committee as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Will you publicly support the idea of using some of the money generated by Morgantown's user fee to improve state-owned roadways that run through the city of Morgantown?
Oh, well, this is that's a very interesting idea. Regarding the issue of using the safety fee to repair state roads, I think we would have to look very carefully at how that relationship would take place. One of the concerns that the city of Morgantown has, of course, is that we are very heavily taxed, as I mentioned earlier, with the expectation that our services will be better and that the services that we receive will be more consistent. The safety fee has been a sacrifice for folks who work in Morgantown. What I think would be helpful in proposing and supporting this kind of measure would be a relationship with the state where we would have more say over what happens on state roads. Of course, one of the difficulties that's been raised in the past is that we have very large asphalt trucks directed through the city on state roads because they're too heavy to drive on federal interstates. If we're going to become responsible, or if we're considering becoming responsible for the repair of those roads, I would hope that we would have more say over the traffic on those roads. And it would have to, once again, be a situation that would benefit Morgantown.
Thank you. Finally, What ideas do you have to improve economic development and create activity centers within the city of Morgantown, since most of the economic development has occurred outside the city of Morgantown's limits in the last 10 years?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and I printed off this beautiful little map, and I apologize if it's a bit hard to see, but this is the this is the planning map for the county of Vermont County. And if you look here, this is pretty much Morgantown over here. We have some cutouts. All of the colored areas are areas in the county that are part of different planning subdivisions within Mon County. And as you can see, these areas take up the same or a larger physical area than the city of Morgantown itself. As I've mentioned, there are only about 30,000 residents in the city of Morgantown, and right now we're very heavily taxed. We provide very substantial services here: libraries, parks, pools, and some of those do receive county funding, but many of them do not. If you look at these planning areas here, what you do not see is the development of that kind of infrastructure. Although the county has the right to create that kind of infrastructure, it has not created that kind of infrastructure. And I know that there is some movement within the county to improve that infrastructure, but it simply hasn't happened to date. What has happened is that there's very large amounts of commercial development and significant multifamily housing development. And I think one of the things that we have to consider as we look at ways to make Morgantown better are ways that we can make the county better. The county is going to have to invest in this infrastructure. Otherwise, the city of Morgantown is going to continue to bear those costs. My hope is that the city of Morgantown can focus on encouraging the businesses that we have, which are wonderful. We have the best restaurants, the best shops, the most interesting people. So I'm hoping that we can encourage them and we can make these areas more family friendly. I'm hoping that we can encourage family friendly development in the downtown area. And that really, I think, will draw folks back in from this other development without infrastructure that's sucking away both our population and our opportunities.
Thank you. This is your opportunity now to address the citizens of Morgantown with any other thoughts you may have that you would like to convey.
Well, I have 3 areas that I'm hoping to focus on if I'm elected to City Council, and I do hope that you will vote for me. The first is the idea that we really want to be a family-friendly community. We brought our children here and we stay here because we want to be a family-friendly community. And that means making businesses family-friendly. That means making our cities and our city streets family-friendly. It means maintaining the infrastructure that is such a beautiful part of Morgantown's culture. Our parks, our pools, the areas where families congregate together to build a community. The second issue that I would like to address is the issue of safety. At a floor, I think our children should be able to walk to school. They should be able to walk safely to school without being accosted on the street. They should be able to walk safely to school on safe sidewalks and on safe and have the ability to just enjoy childhood activities without fear of unnecessary traffic on residential roads. And finally, of course, we really are always focusing on infrastructure here because that's just fundamental to both the job of the city and my hope for our future, because really the infrastructure development will lead to greater economic opportunity and more economic development. And finally, as part of all of those issues, one thing that I'm hoping to focus on is affordable housing. That is really the most critical economic issue that I see here. Our employees are driving very far, often because they cannot afford to live here. So I'm hoping to encourage that over the next 2 years. So please vote for me. First word, Rachel Fetty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.